What's up, Rams, and welcome back to another week of Cam's Corner. I'm your host, Cameron Evig. Tonight we'll look at what is a very busy weekend for CSU athletics, including a matchup in Canvas Stadium against an SEC squad. And sticking with football, the NFL 2021 season kickoff was just less than an hour ago. I'll give you my playoff predictions, my pick for MVP, and everything in between. All that and more on Cam's Corner, starting right now. After a very disappointing start to the season for, well, all of CSU athletics, things are going to have to change, and in a hurry if any of these teams want to have a successful 2021 campaign. With CSU football, volleyball, and soccer starting out a combined 1-6-2 on the year. Oh, and that one win came just last week when the volleyball team beat NC State on Saturday. Now, if the Rams are going to turn things around, it's going to have to start tomorrow with a doubleheader for Coach Hilbert's crew right here at Moby, playing Southern Illinois' Edwardsville at noon and then the Oregon State Beavers at 7. And things don't slow down there, facing off against UAB to end the weekend off on Saturday. Luckily for CSU, these three visitors have had their own struggles, with UAB and the Beavs sitting at 1-4 and SIUE at 2-4. Look for the Rams to win at least two of these matchups to start getting back on track. And speaking of a slow start to the season, CSU soccer is still looking for win number one. And hopefully for Ram fans, it comes with their next match. Hosting the Idaho State Bengals at 12 o'clock on Sunday. Now, if CSU wants to take the dub in this one, they're going to have to put much more effort into offense. Only having one goal through 4 games so far. To keep it simple, Coach Keeley Hagan and the crew need to figure out a way to put the ball in the back of the net, and quickly. Last but not least, we have Ram football, who took an L in the first game of their season last Friday against South Dakota State, where they got hosed in Canvas 42-23. Now, the main issue for the CSU team was an obvious one, allowing 242 rushing yards and 3 touchdowns to the Jackrabbits. But even though they started things off on the wrong foot, the Rams have a clear shot to rebound when they host Vanderbilt under the lights on Saturday. Look, it's true. CSU hasn't had much success against SEC teams in the past. But usually, SEC teams are good. Vanderbilt is not. And after South Dakota State running back Pierre Strong ran for 138 yards and 2 touchdowns last week, you would have to imagine that at the top of Steve Adazio's to-do list is fixing that defense. Moving on to the offense for CSU, it wasn't nearly as bad. Even if 2 of the 3 scores came when the game was pretty much over. Tots Teo and the crew put up 23 points, and it's obvious that Trey McBride and Deontay Wright were the main source of that, with Trey pulling in 13 grabs for 116 yards, and Dante coming through as that deep threat that the team expects him to be, speeding for 6 receptions for 103. It's clear to see that if this team wants to have any shot of having a good year, these two need to perform like that week by week. We'll see how things go come Saturday night, though. And speaking of weekends, they're about to get a whole lot better when the NFL returns to Sundays. Starting this week, the hometown Denver Broncos start their season on the road in New York when they play Daniel Jones and the Giants at 2:15 on Sunday. And while those teams are focused on their week 1 matchups, I'm more worried about the end of the season standings. So let's take a look at my prediction on who will make it to the postseason. For me, we got to start off in the AFC West with the Kansas City Chiefs. The best offense in the league, it's not a debate. Patrick Mahomes, Travis Kelce, Tyreek Hill are so hard to stop. Look for a breakout year from Clyde Edwards-Helaire, that running back. I don't have to say anymore. The Chiefs are the number 1 seed with the Bills in the AFC East close behind. I think Josh Allen and the crew are going to have a good year, and a lot of it's going to depend on Zach Moss. That running back, can he do well running between the tackles, set up that play action, set up that deep downfield bomb to Stephon Diggs? We're going to have to see with the Bills. Looking at the AFC North, Cleveland Browns have this one locked up, and I don't think there's a debate to it. Baker Mayfield has been doing a lot better at increasing his skill at quarterback. 2 dominant running backs in Kareem Hunt and Nick Chubb, and one of the best players in the NFL on defense with Myles Garrett. The Browns are a shoo-in to win the AFC North, especially with the news we got earlier. The Ravens are in a tough spot. Losing Gus Edwards and Marcus Peters earlier, as well as the J.K. Dobbins injury earlier on in the year, it's going to be tough for the Ravens to make any sort of impact in the AFC with those big players out. Looking at the wild card spot, though, the Colts, the Broncos, and the Steelers are my pick. I think the Colts and the Broncos are two very similar teams. What's their issue? Their question mark at quarterback. Wentz and Teddy Bridgewater are both mediocre quarterbacks, and they both can get the job done. Wentz does have a little bit more upside than Teddy does, but his receivers are Michael Pittman, Eric Paschal, and Parrish Campbell, all very young, unproven receivers. Obviously, the Colts are running the ball every single down if they can, with Jonathan Taylor, Marlon Mack, and Naheem Hines in that backfield, but I think the Colts will slide into that last spot. The Steelers are slept on 100%. Their O-line is a little bit lacking, but with the signing of Trey Turner, that right guard position is solid. Look for Najee Harris to have a lot of carries this year. And look for Big Ben to do what he always does and get the ball out of his hands in 0.3 seconds to Deontay Johnson and Juju Smith-Schuster. Moving on to the NFC. Now, the NFC West is by far, clear-cut, the best division in football. The LA Rams, the Seattle Seahawks, as well as the San Francisco 49ers are all in the playoffs for me, with the Arizona Cardinals just out of there. The Rams have gotten a huge quarterback upgrade with Matthew Stafford, a phenomenal quarterback with great receivers to throw to. Cooper Kupp and Robert Woods are phenomenal on the outside. Tyler Higbee, a great tight end that can have a good year for LA this year. Looking at the NFC East, the Cowboys are the favorite. That's not hard to say, but do not sleep on the Washington football team. This is a team with very solid wide receivers. You're looking at Terry McLaurin. You're looking at Curtis Samuel. Logan Thomas is going to have a breakout year at the tight end. One of the best backs in the league, Antonio Gibson, in that backfield. The Washington offense is going to be okay. And their defense, with how dominant Montez Sweat and Chase Young are, we know that, in my opinion, they're going to be in the wild card race. Arizona, another team that could be possibly in there. Just so many question marks on that defense. For me, you got to ride the 49ers bandwagon. So good before they had all those injuries. And I think that this is going to be your playoff picture come playoff time. Well, Ram fans, that's all I've got for you tonight. Be sure to come back to Cam's Corner next week to get you caught up on all your sporting news. And don't go anywhere. Tom will get you caught up on all the spice and entertainment right after this.